Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Momentum's live webinar, Scaling Wholesale Distribution with MYOB Acumatica. We're kicking off right on time, 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We have a lot of great stuff to go through with you this morning, so we're going to move pretty quickly into it. And this has been one of our most registered webinars ever, so there's quite a bit of interest in the content that we have to show you today. Just a couple of quick reminders. I'm sure everybody already knows this, but please keep your microphone on mute during the presentation. Just helps us prevent any background noise while presenters presenting. Feel free to use the chat box, raise your hand, or unmute and ask a question if you do have a question. And we're happy to answer throughout. We are recording the session, and so the recording will be sent to everybody that registered once we've curated it a little bit for you. So the agenda today is just a quick update from me, and then we're jumping straight into a live demonstration of some of the cooler MYOB Acumatica features that work very well for inventory-centric businesses in wholesale distribution, e-commerce, including manufacturing, because manufacturers who make things also need to sell them. So all of this would apply to businesses that deal with inventory one way or another. And then towards the end, we have one of our favourite ISVs, Netstock, and they'll be presenting their inventory optimization solution as well. And then time for Q&A. Just a quick update on Momentum. We've been around for many years, and we started in Queensland on the Sunshine Coast where I live. But over the last number of years, we've expanded to become very much a national organisation. We have consultants or teams of consultants in every capital city and also some of the major regional centres, particularly in Queensland. So in the last 12 months, we've grown our team in all of the main states. So we've got a team of people in New South Wales, we've got an office and a team of people in Adelaide, a small team in Victoria and also WA. We're continuing to work with new businesses all the time. So we're approaching nearly 300 customers running the different ERPs that we do. We're very busy, so we completed over 40 ERP and payroll implementations last year, and we have 56 on the go right now. Our total team is now over 50 people, 35 in our consulting team. Ticked over our 15th year in business, which makes me feel very old. And 2 weeks ago, we were awarded the MYOB Manufacturing Partner of the Year at their national conference in Melbourne. And that was the second year running that we've been awarded the Manufacturing Partner of the Year. So lots to celebrate for our team. We're very proud of doing that. And the prior year, we were the Customer Service Partner of the Year as well. Before we move into demo, I just wanted to highlight a number of services that we offer that not all of our customers are aware of. Upgrades are a thing, and upgrades require some management, and the upgrade process itself is designed to make sure it's as non-disruptive as possible. But we do think that upgrades are super important, and customers often don't have the time to absorb the release notes in detail. So we create our own landing page for each major upgrade, where we curate what we think the big ticket items are. And we're also able to offer post-upgrade training and feature walkthroughs. So whilst the initial upgrade process itself is to make sure that nothing breaks and everything keeps working, the real benefit of the upgrade are all the new features and there's usually at least 100, with every major upgrade, which is amazing how much software and new features Acumatica and MYOB produce. So if you do want to access that post-upgrade feature review and training, just reach out to our team and we can make that happen for you. That can be as brief as an hour, or we can spend a decent amount of time working through key features with you, and then work to get those implemented and working for you. The other thing is system reviews or health checks, and depending on your size and complexity and how long you've been using MYOB Acumatica, that's an opportunity to take a look at how it's configured, how you're using it now, identify opportunities to optimize that, improve processes, enable features that you may not currently be using but can add value to your business, and also identify any training gaps. So again, that's something we can provide on request at any time. Just reach out to us for that. And lastly is we're very much focused on continuous improvement and helping our customers just keep moving ahead. So quarterly business reviews is something that Mitch, who's on screen, does, and also our senior consultants can do with you, which is somewhat a planning conversation to align, what your business plans are for the year or half year or even quarter, and what might need to be done or optimized in your ERP or adjacent to your ERP to help you achieve those goals. And then we can use that as the basis to make whatever changes or enhancements are needed to help you achieve those goals, and then revisit on a regular basis to keep things moving forward. So those, I think, are all really important things that we perhaps aren't well known enough by existing customers, and we just wanted to make sure that that awareness was there. Okay, so today's session is very much about delving into features of MYOB Acumatica that particularly work well for inventory-centric businesses. And rather than do it in slideshows, we like doing live demos, and our very experienced pre-sales consultant, Pankaj, is on the hook to do that. So I'll introduce you to Pankaj, and he will talk you through all the key features that we think perhaps customers aren't using or aren't using as much as they could. And hopefully you'll get a lot of value from this session. Welcome, Pankaj.
Yeah, hi, thanks, Al. I just logging into my system and just start sharing the screen. I don't know what happened, just my laptop got rebooted itself.
No problem. Do you want to show us the first topic, Mitch?
Yeah.
So while Pankaj is just getting quite ready, so a feature that was released some time ago but not necessarily used is related items. And related items can be used for various purposes, so upsell, cross-sell opportunities, item substitution. So if a customer orders product A, you don't have it, but product B is like for like. All of that can be managed. There's some configuration required to map what the related items are. But then you get some great functionality in your sales order and sales quote screen to be able to manage that information and potentially gain more sales, capture sales that you might otherwise have lost, get a bit of additional margin by using those features. How are you going there, Pankaj?
Yeah, it's just right there. Just give me one more minute, I think.
Let's just go to the next slide, Mitch, and then we will then drop back one when Pankaj is ready with his live demo. So yeah, once we've covered the related items, we're then going to look at how you can set up a forecast in MYOB Acumatica, and then use that forecast to do what's called DRP, distribution requirements planning, to ensure that you can have the required level of stock by raising purchase orders, transfer orders, etc., to optimize your inventory and make sure that you have as few out of stocks as possible, and as little overstocks and dead stock as possible.
Yeah, I'm in now, guys. Thank you for your patience. Just the thing. I'm now going to share my screen. Give me. There you go. I believe everybody can see my screen now. And before I start the demo and the point that Al was discussing, let me know the screen size, if it is all good. So the first point what Al was discussing just now is the related item, which is introduced, I think, in the previous version, but it's a good function that I thought I would prepare today's demo to let you guys know that you guys can use these, especially when your sales team, they want to increase the sales and they want to offer a better option to your customer. So we start with this related item in a stock item screen, where we actually configure that if we are going to have related items. So how we configure it. So I'll take an example that we are selling laptops and computers and other things. So if I go to one of my items, let's say this Lenovo laptop i5 12th generation, I already have this in the system, but now I see a new tab here that says related items, which means now I have options to cross-sell, upsell, and substitute this item when I'm entering a sales order. So cross-sell is the ability to add additional items to the order while you are selling this Lenovo laptop to your customer. Substitute is when you see that this Lenovo laptop is not in stock and it would take another week or time, a couple of weeks time. So you can talk to your customer and say, look, we don't have the Lenovo laptop 12th generation at the moment in stock. It can be delivered to you next week or day after or so. But we have a substitute Lenovo 13th generation, which will be a little bit of $10 or $20, a few dollars up. Would you like us to place the order for that? And if the customer is happy with that, you can use the substitute item. And then the upsell item is basically when you're offering some premium products in place of the regular thing that you sell to your customer, basically just allowing your customer to know that you have more products or better products or the products with the better feature that he can take from you. So you guys can easily configure the relation of the related items, and then you can always give a tag as well to it. So in near future, if you want to run a report based on how many premium products you have sold, how many promotional, popular, or seasonal. So these are some kind of tags that you want to give when you're selling that product. So once you configure this, the easiest way to use this related item is in your sales order, where you would go, I'm assuming myself as a sales guy, I'm on a phone call or I'm placing an order for a customer. And then I will tell the customer that we have Lenovo 12. And then once you see this green tick here, so this is the additional column that has been introduced after introducing this function of related items. So if I see this a green $ thing here, so I know that there are some options available which I can pitch to the customer, whether it's a substitute item or upsell item if I want to, increase the sale of this sales order. So I will simply click here. And then system would show me all the related items. And I can see that the laptop that I'm selling to this customer, I want to add a bag to it, which is an optional, a cross-sell item. So if I want to give a bag, I can tick this one and system will add this item. Or I want to substitute this item, that I will tell customer that, look, you're buying Lenovo 12th generation, but I have a 13th generation, which would cost you $100 up for, and you would have, advanced things in that, or an upsell item if, I really want to give him a high-end laptop in there. So I can select easily. So let's say I want to substitute the item. Now in add and close, the system updates the item here, removes the 12th generation, and in place just added the 13th generation. And if I'm happy with that, I will remove hold and proceed to my sales orders, doing shipments and all that stuff. So this feature actually helps us as a salespeople, to add, to cross-sell, to upsell, and to substitute the items when we are entering a sales order. I can see an inquiry there as well, which is related item history, which actually shows me how many sales order we actually started with original item, if you see here, and what is the related item that replaced the item that we have. So it's a good way of knowing how many sales order been using the related items in. So that was actually the use of this related item function. The next topic was forecasting. So in our business, and if we are planning to do supply and demand things, so if we want to forecast how we are going to sell.
Sorry, Pankaj, just quick question. That the question was just asked: does the related items functionality work in quotes? And I believe the answer is yes.
It does.
Sales
quotes. Yeah.
Thank you.
And okay. That's what I was talking about. Forecast is the functionality of forecast in MYOB Acumatica is for us to, define how we are going to plan our inventory to sell and how much or how many we sell based on, weekly, based on monthly, or based on the historical selling that we have been doing. So this is the forecast screen that you guys see here. This is where we actually add a forecast to the system. Now, there are multiple ways to do the forecast. The one is manual way, where I can click on plus here and then tell system that, I am going to sell my, desktop on a weekly basis. We will be selling 20, and then the system will then use this data and notify us that when we need to do replenishment to make sure that we have 20 in stock every week to sell the 20 desktop. Similarly, we can use the Excel import. So I can use an Excel forecast to update if I'm doing in a bulk for my bulk items. So it would just update, added 3 new lines in it, and then I would just save it. So it would update the quantity, what is the beginning date, end date, and so on. So we have internals, basically one-time forecast, weekly, monthly, yearly. This is another way. And then we have generate forecast, which is basically system is helping you to generate the forecast based on the historical data of your sales that you have done. So this is the screen where you tell system that I've been selling all these items, right? And look into the past 2 years of all my sales orders that I have done, right? And then I want a growth rate of 20%. And could you please calculate and tell me how much I should be doing, should be selling, in the near future based on my last 2 year history? So I'll click on calculate, and then system will calculate based on that and display here that, this is the change in the unit, which means system suggesting me how much I should be selling or, forecasting. And when I'm happy with that, I will tick multiple of them or basically process all. So when I do this, system will update the screen that I showed you earlier, which is the forecast. So this screen is where system would update the data from that process of generate forecast. So there are 2-3 ways to generate your forecast, basically, that allow you or your purchasing manager or your sales manager to work and then do the replenishment of items on a timely basis. Now we have a dependent checkbox here that actually shows that these items are dependent on the sales order. So please consider all the sales orders in the history or at the moment to show us the forecast thing. The new feature that has been added in the forecast is the 2 side panels here. So if I click on the side panel forecast versus sales, so this actually shows me that my forecast say that we will be selling 30 Lenovo laptops on a monthly basis. So starting from 11th of February till 10th of March, so we will be selling 30. We have one actual quantity, which means we have one sales order where we have actual Lenovo 12th generation, and then we have 29 short of actually doing the forecast. Now, it is very good for my salespeople and my purchasing people to work based on that, to achieve the target of forecasting of 30 selling. Do we have in stock? If you don't, we will be placing the order to our supplier to deliver us the laptop so that we can sell, or our salespeople, that we are 29, to do more for this month so they can, do further sales or further orders this laptop. Another side panel that I have just below that one is actually showing me by detail. So if I want to have a look at all the sales orders where this laptop is already booked, so it shows me all the orders and the ordered quantity. So these 2 side panels actually are introduced in the new version so that it would make easy for our people to efficiently place the orders or do the fulfillments of the orders in the warehouse. Right, okay, let's move to the next point. The next one is there's a little improvement in receiving of an item in the warehouse. I will
Pankaj, just a couple of questions from the attendees before you move on. From Jenny, where is forecast located?
So the forecast is under inventory planning module. So you need to have enabled the function of distribution requirement planning, which would then enable the forecast. You would see the module inventory planning where you can see regenerate inventory planning and other inquiries, and then the forecast as well. What's the next question?
Next question is from Paul Garrett. Does the forecasting feature in Acumatica work with configured products?
Yes. All right. So the next point is receiving of an item into the warehouse. So that's a little improvement. The improvement is that now we have a verify before release. That's so actually a new step that has been added. So it actually says new verification step before receipt release to reducing receiving errors. Clear separation of duties between warehouse staff and receipt approvers. Choice to retain 0 quantity lines and purchase receipts, and then updated screen workflow with confirm receipt replacing release button. So what basically it means is that if I'm doing a purchase receipt, we have done all the purchase orders. Now, if I want to do a purchase receipt, I'll share my screen again. So here is my purchase orders list. And if I go here, create a new purchase order. And let's say we are buying Asus laptop from the supplier, and then bag as well. So we're buying 2 laptops and 2 bags. I remove hold. I approve it. So in a receive and put away, and this is both in desktop as well as mobile app as well. So in receive and put away, earlier we used to have a button here called release, but now we have that the button release has been replaced by confirm receipt, which is if I'm a warehouse user who is receiving the items and I'm doing the scanning thing and receiving the item, I would just do the receipt here. Right, and then I would do confirm receipt. So when I do this, system would create a receipt entry itself. So I did not create it manually. System created the receipt entry, and then the status is received, which means it is not completed yet. It has been receiving. There are a lot of items that I've been receiving, and then the release button is only available now at the purchase receipt level. So that, the responsibility of the person who actually released that, yes, we have received all the items and we are ready to increase our stock with that. I would then do release button here of receiving the item. A new column has been added as well to the purchase receipt that says received to date. So initially we have 2 quantities in the order to receive, but we released only 1 quantity as of today, that we received only 1 quantity each, the items. And then system is showing me received to date as a new column that has been added into this one. So that's actually a good thing if you want to, have a step of verifying the items before you release the receipt. So that's where this functionality helps you.
Yeah, might just add, Pankaj, the thinking behind that feature is when receipts are receipted incorrectly, it can be high impact. So immediately our inventory on hand is incorrect. It's not that easy to fix. There's a flow-on effect to your inventory valuation, trying to reverse things that have been receipted incorrectly. So the corrections are a bit painful. This just gives you the ability to have effectively a 2-step receiving process. So there's a double check. Again, it's optional. It wouldn't be for everybody, but particularly where in receipting is problematic in your company, then it's definitely something I'd consider.
Yeah. All right. Let's move to the next one. So the next one is actually prepayment invoice for a sales order. So in the new version, actually, MYOB Acumatica introduced that if you want to recognize the GST on your advance payment from the customer, so if you ask customer that we need 10%, 20% full or partial order value, in advance. So they actually introduce now a button on your sales order screen from where you can directly create a prepayment invoice, and that prepayment invoice can be auto applied and linked when you actually raise the customer invoice. So let's take an example of it. So I go back to share my screen again. So I'll take an example here. I open a sales order. Let's say we are selling these items to our customer and we want 50% of the prepayment. So I have a new button, if you see here, so create prepayment invoice. So with the new functionality, a new version, a new checkbox has been added actually at the account receivable preferences for you to actually tick that you want to use the functionality. And in the enable disable feature as well, you need to take that allow GST on prepayment invoicing. So once you configure those two checkboxes, you would see the button here. And then here at this level, I want to receive 50%. So I will say here that, 50% advance from the customer. System calculates that for me. And then I would click on create. And when I click here, system would create a prepayment invoice for me. And a new status will be updated here when I just release this invoice. So I use this and I go release. So when I release the invoice, you would see a prepayment invoice document type has been added to the sales order with the amount of 50% of the invoice. And then it also updates the totals on the left-hand side, how much is spending after when we deliver to the customer. Going back to the prepayment invoice, let's say I want to pay this invoice, which means I'm receiving the money from the customer, that 50%. I'll give it a payment reference and then just release. Done. I close this, and now you would see it's still the prepayment invoice, status unapplied, which means we have received the 50% from the customer. We have done our GST recognized invoice. We send the invoice to the customer. And when now I will move further to ship the items. I will just do a little bit quick here. Now you guys already know the process of prepare the invoice. I release the invoice, and in the applications tab, you would see that System Auto applied the 50% that we have received from the customer before. It's already there, and in the totals, you see that's the unpaid balance of the invoice that we have just generated. So a good function. If you guys do want to create prepayment invoices, you want to send the invoices to the customer for prepayment of the advance, and you want to recognize the GST as well. So that's a good option now for us and available in MYOB Acumatica to use. Pretty configurable itself. So you just do the 2 tick boxes and start using it.
Yeah, a particularly good improvement, I think, Pankaj, because the previous options was pretty much a workaround where we would print manually a pro forma from the sales order that looked like an invoice but wasn't really. And this properly handles the accounting so that we're not recognizing revenue at this point. It's in the balance sheet. And when the goods are supplied and actually invoiced, then comes back out of the balance sheet, hits the P&L.
That's right. Okay, I think another one, which is a quick one, is a new function again added, which is when you do the receipt from the customer, you can now send a payment receipt proof to the customer that, yeah, we have received the payment from you. And that is when you do this entry. Now a new menu option is available, which is print payment receipt or email payment receipt, depending how you want to use. So you can print the payment receipt and send it manually to the customer, or you can simply click on email payment receipt, which will then system will automatically send an email to the customer attaching, the information. Again, this can be modified and information can be added here. Alternatively, you can go to your receivables and
Pankaj, I think you're not sharing the screen.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. I will just go back to the payment that we received. So when we received the payment, guys, we have now option here to print payment receipt and email payment receipt. So when I click on print, it shows me the print. This can be modified, as I was saying, and then you can send it manually from here. Or you can go to the receivables modules, print email AR document. A new action has been added here as email payment receipts. You can set an automation. And then as soon as you create an AR payment, system will send a payment receipt, or you can call a proof of payment to the customer saying, yeah, we have received the payment. And start using this. If you really are asked by the customer, could you send us the payment receipt or confirmation email that you have received the payment? So that's a good function as well, a small one, but really effective. The last one in my today's presentation is purchase price variance approval. So what happens is when you do purchase order, when you do the receipts, and when you enter the AP bill, you might see some purchase price variance. So previously there was the system used to calculate the purchase price variance when you release the AP bill, but now after the upgrades, you can see the system been calculating the purchase price variance before you release the AP bill, which means when you save an AP bill, system will show you what's the variance and do you want an approval or you want your manager to approve that bill proceed, to the payment. So I will quickly share my screen again and show you. So if I go to my purchase orders, so assuming that this is my purchase order number, we asked our supplier Sensis Sensoric to supply us a laptop, and that was the unit cost. That's the rate. He did that. We received the item. There was no change, but when we entered the bill, there was a bit of a change in the amount, and then system shows me estimated PPV amount, which means estimated purchase price variance amount. So before I released the AP bill, system calculated that, and it is checking the rates here as well. So initially it was 1.7828, but at the time of entering the bill, the rate was 1.7728. So system calculated the purchase price variance amount for me. And then I set up an approval map already in the system where as soon as I click on remove hold, system sends this AP bill for an approval to my manager, let's say Chris Young, to see what's the PPV amount, and an email would tell, whatever we modify, there's a link of the AP bill, and then this is the PPV amount, and I quickly jump into I look and I say, that's fine, we can approve and pay to the supplier, and then I would release the bill. So again, a small but good functionality if you guys have a lot of purchase price variances going on when you receive the item from different suppliers and you want to put this on an approval map where you want your purchase manager or your accounts people to approve it before, you know, releasing the AP bill and then proceed to pay to the supplier. So you can use this function of PPV estimated approval. So I think that's all that I have in today's quick webinar. I hope you guys, you know, like these small functions here. You guys can start using these functions, and for more questions, I and my team are more than happy to answer.
Thanks, Pankaj. So yeah, some great features there. I think I've already commented on most of them. A couple of things on the upsell, cross-sell items. It might seem like a lot of work to maintain that, but that can actually be imported from Excel. So with our assistance, you can provide a mapping from the item to its related items and import it, which will be a lot more efficient than setting it up manually. The same with the forecasts. Pankaj did show that that can be uploaded from a file. And lastly, the PPV seems like a little thing, but in my experience can be a big thing. If it's happening regularly, it potentially affects margin. So if regularly, for whatever reason, your purchase order price does not match what the supplier is charging you, something's going on somewhere. Either your prices in your system aren't correct and the supplier is correct, or the supplier is, you know, particularly if they've overcharged you, can, you know, relate to a lot of PPV variances, which end up, you know, in cost of goods and potential margin leakage. So just having that better visibility of it makes a big difference, because if there's an error, it can be caught before it becomes a real error. And having that approval workflow, you know, gives you an additional layer. Obviously, there's an overhead to that, but depending on the impact to your business, that can be a potential way to recover some margin. All right, next on our agenda. So the MYOB Acumatica product has a huge ecosystem of ISVs, and this is just a little mud map of a number of them. And depending on your type of business, there are some that we would call horizontal that almost anybody could use, and there's some that are more vertical, which businesses in certain industries would use. And one of our favourites presenting to us, in fact, before I introduce them, I will say that any of these or any other ISV, or if you're looking for solutions that, you know, fill a gap that you might currently have, we have very strong knowledge of, you know, what is available, and also, you know, what's good. So feel free to reach out if you do have questions. We can actually introduce you to the people at a lot of these companies so that you haven't got to go through their normal website and inquiry process. So yeah, just do keep that in mind. But one of our favourites, and particularly for this, the audience who are with us today, is Netstock. So I won't steal any of your thunder, Carrie. Jump on, and I'm sure you've got a lot of good stuff to show our customers today.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to share my screen quickly with everybody. I'll just confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes, all good, Carrie.
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. So first, an enormous thank you to the Momentum team for including us today. Our relationship and shared values go back so many years, and I'm truly grateful. So I want to go into the Netstock system because I do believe the power of Netstock is through the actual visuals, but I always like to start with a very important yet simple statement. So for most organizations, inventory is the highest value item on the balance sheet. The only real exception, of course, would be if a business is holding a sizable amount of property, plant, and equipment. But in almost every other case, inventory represents your biggest asset, but yet your biggest risk. And when that is true, managing it without an automated, intelligent planning platform, you're doing yourself a disservice. So, a little bit about me and why I'm so incredibly passionate about optimizing inventory, optimizing your working capital is I manage channel relationships for Netstock for the APAC region. I, for my sins, have spent more than 20 years working in the supply chain across both corporate roles and consulting roles. I specialize in supply chain optimization and restructuring, and I've worked with businesses across many different industries and at very different stages. I've supported organizations preparing to scale, and I've worked with businesses in serious financial distress where inventory decisions truly directly impact cash flow survival and stakeholder confidence. So through this experience, it's truly shaped how I think about automation in supply chain. I'm very practical and very pragmatic about it. So what we find generally is these are standardized pain points. So we've got, as we stated, a really solid relationship with Momentum, with Acumatica, MYOB, and we, in essence, supercharge MYOB's inventory offering. So generally, our customers would come to us if they're on the Acumatica MYOB platform, but yet they're still having issues. Number one, they've got cash tied up in excess stock. They still have frequent stockouts and lost sales, unreliable forecasts because they're not really understanding the seasonality, promotions, and slow movers. They have difficulty managing safety stock, and their teams are just spending far too much time placing orders. So what is Netstock? So we were built specifically to address a gap in the market. We've been cloud native since 2009, and I've been very privileged to know them since inception. And innovation is genuinely part of our DNA. So now there's such a buzzword for AI and machine learning and using statistical measures within the inventory realm. And we've been doing this for the last 15 years. So Netstock is now trusted by more than 2,400 businesses globally. And we're very fortunate to be supported by teams operating across multiple time zones. And I think people don't take that into consideration when picking a third party to utilize, is that everything is supported within this region. And what matters most, though, is that the platform is built on decades of real supply chain experience and designed to apply AI and machine learning in a way that is very practical, explainable, and operationally relevant. So it's truly applied decision intelligence. Now, because time is of the essence, I'm going to take you straight into our platform. Apologies, everybody. Let me just share again. And of course, do not hesitate to reach out to Momentum, who in turn will revert to myself. If you've got any questions, as I said, I'm really, really passionate about what we do here. So what is the major difference between Netstock and what's offered in MYOB Acumatica? Now, MYOB Acumatica is the most phenomenal transactional platform. It's incredibly powerful. Where we come on is, as I said, we're going to take that up a level. So we specialize in demand and supply and inventory optimization. So we're a cloud-based platform. As I said, we've got direct scripts into the Acumatica MYOB environment. So we pull information, real-time information out once a day, twice a day. You can run it on demand. And please just excuse me looking to the left over here. That's where my large screen is. But you can see everything is very much widget based. So we want to make sure that we give you insights as quickly as possible. So we'll show you exactly what your stock holding is today, what your ideal model stock is today, and we can do this by location. We can then have the option to filter via a multitude of different criteria that we're pulling out of your ERPs, or we can have a look at an overarching business view, which is another thing that's critical. But based on all of our algorithms, because we're pulling out historical sales, historical purchase orders, historical receipts, or information regarding the master data of your products, we're able then to push that through an automated forecasting platform that we've created, and we will pick best fit forecasting methodology. And with the use of calculated lead times or your actual lead times pulled from the system, open purchase orders, open customer orders, an array of different criteria, we provide you with what your ideal stock levels are. Apart from that, we're going to show you what your excess stock is. We're going to break that down if it's a non-stock product, if it's something that's a high contributing product towards your bottom line or volume. And you can click into each of these products, or you can see your top 5 products, or you can see very quickly a full list of everything. Surplus orders as well. So everyone's got surplus orders, but is it made up of, and we calculate what these surplus orders are, which alleviates massive amounts of unnecessary cash, further cash investment, specifically if you can cancel them. We are able to pull through if it's sitting on a ship or if it's been assigned to a ship, so there, or an air freight or an internal transfer, so that we then don't waste our time looking at that. But we then identify if that product will naturally via natural run rates take care of that excess, or if it's something that's a slow mover, low contributing product. We show you fill rate, another really nice KPI that most companies just aren't able to provide. What are you in stocked out and potential stock out? So it's a beautiful, really easy to use platform based on years of knowledge and very complex algorithms sitting in the back end, working off of your real-time data. Now, I'm just going to show you a couple of other things. So we spoke about the classifications. So I always say, what is the health of your inventory? Is it made up of fast-moving, high-contributing products, meaning is it contributing a sizable amount to your gross margin, to your cost price, to your selling price? We have the opportunity to mix and match that. So, for example, anything in green are fast-moving, high-contributing products. Anything in blue are medium-moving products. Red, slow-moving, low-contributing products. And your golds will be your outliers, either very expensive and slow-moving or very cheap and fast-moving. And this is really where Netstock will come into play, is we're able to put in policies that will correlate to each of these boxes. So, for example, you want your highest fill rates, your highest availability rates for your highest contributing products. And we can also do this via warehouse as well, via location. We can create policies around certain suppliers, certain categories of products. But imagine being able to very quickly say, my really cheap, fast-moving products, let's order them in bulk. Let's take advantage of scale. If it's slow-moving, low-contributing, let's maybe consider a lower fill rate, or to place those more regularly so we can really validate how well we're performing from a forecast perspective. No contributing products, lowest fill rates. And this is all assigned within Netstock, and you will, if you decide to come over, be given an onboarding specialist within the wholesale distribution realm. We've got a sizable amount of client base sitting in that world, and we will give you daily, weekly, and monthly processes based on benchmark best practices. So it's not just a platform, you're also being educated at the same time. Now imagine being able to see what your excess looks like. So do you have healthy excess? Do you have excess made up of slow-moving, low-contributing products that you need to put on an excess stock reduction plan? And in order to see this, it's literally just clicking in over here, and all your products will show up that correlate to that box. And of course, you can download this in Excel and flick that over to your product team or your sales team to try and flush that out. Another thing, surplus orders. As I spoke to earlier, we all know that there's surplus orders always, just like excess. But let's go ahead and can those surplus orders that are slow moving, low contributing, or that are slow moving and really expensive. So the ROI of Netstock is unbelievable. Generally, we're able to reduce working capital between 15 to 30%. We've got proven case studies that support this. It's tangible information. And I too have worked in the product, consulted on the product, and implemented the product. We save time of upwards of 70%, because we, at the end of the day, will give you a suggested order of what do you need to place, what potentially do you need to transfer, what potentially do you need to produce, because we also work with bill of materials and assembly units. And we're basing this all on information coming out of Netstock, which is assessing information within your ERP. Potential stockouts and stockouts. Now, everything within Netstock, as I said, is automated. We don't expect you to have to do anything unless you want to get involved. So the minute there's grass level information that you want to put in terms of, hold on, this is, are we expecting an increase of 20%? We did show you that in the MYOB system earlier, but ours is a little bit different, a little bit, you can draw down a little bit quicker. So what we'll do here is we've got our suggested forecast. This is all your previous sales. This is based on our future forecast. We take into consideration your stock on hand, if you've got any overdue demand, what you've got coming in on order. Everything can be seen in Netstock. So you'll be using Netstock to place orders, as in to derive orders. What purchase orders are open? Do we have any constraints, supplier constraints in terms of minimum order quantities and multiples? All of that is put in automated from your ERP into Netstock. And at the end of the day, we're going to provide you with what is your recommended order. Here, this product you can see is potentially stocked out of 230 units, and it will show you the potential stock out date. And this is a beautiful view of 12 months ahead of time as to when you'll be stocked out and when Netstock's expecting you to go back into healthy levels. So it's incredibly easy to see where your areas of concern are. But at the end of the day, I always like to say, what are we going to produce for you? We're going to produce a suggested order over here based on all those nice algorithms, and all you have to do is go and create that order. And once you've vetted the order, and we will teach you how to very quickly vet the order, all you'll do is you'll download that, and directly this order, works order or transfer order, will go back into your MYOB Acumatica system if there is any type of delegation of authority level there. And we've also got a phenomenal option over here that if you want to increase an order to hit a certain container volume or a certain price break volume or a certain unit volume, our system will go and tabulate what is the most effective and optimal products to add to that. So there's a lot of intelligence there. I just want to show you snippets of the system, because normally I can go on for about an hour on how great our opportunities are, but we'll show you by supplier what is expected to be ordered by day by product over the next 12 months. We'll also show you what your projection looks like. So this is fantastic for CFO level or GM level to see exactly what does your inventory look like by month over the next 12 months? What is your fill rate potentially going to look like over the next 12 months? Stock turns, what does your demand look like? And this is critical so that you can overlay what your inventory projection forecasting tool is pushing out versus what your sales targets are like. Because I always find sales moves in a very different direction to forecasting. What are your recommended orders? So imagine being able to give your financial accountant what type of cash flow will be required over the next 12 months. And what are your receipts like into your various entities? So you then can scale up or scale down pallet locations, warehousing staff, and equipment. And you have the ability to go and filter this to the nth degree. So if you want to look at this as an overarching view of your whole business, or you want to only look at a certain supplier or a certain product, you can do so. So Netstock, as I said, at the end of the day, is providing you reduction in working capital between 20 to 30%, increase in fill rates of up to 15%, decrease in time of up to 70%. And because of our forecasting algorithms, you're looking at a forecasting accuracy increase of 50%. And I know we're going to finish now, but we also take into consideration lost sales, as well as seasonality and promotions. So I've just given you as much as I could in that period, but looking forward to working with you all and showing you the beautiful power that is Netstock. Thank you, Al and team.
Awesome. Thanks, Carrie. Great presentation, and you managed to cram a lot in the time available, so you appreciate your flexibility there. And if anybody is interested in learning more about Netstock, reach out to us and we'll put you in touch. That's pretty much our wrap up. If we can just go to the final slide, a couple of slides, Mitch. And before I move on completely from Netstock, I think it's self-evident that for certain customers, you can do a lot in MYOB Acumatica itself with its inventory planning and that sort of stuff. But there's levels of sophistication that Netstock provide, well over and above that. So if you feel you're in that category, then Netstock, customers of ours that use it love it. I probably can't say it any better than that. We do have some upcoming events, and the top three are actually MYOB hosted events. So they're running they call it Discover Live in Sydney, Brisbane and Melbourne in April and May, and we'll be attending those events with whichever of our customers like to attend. And it's you'll see invitations about that. It's a great way to get updates from MYOB on what's coming in the product, particularly in the AI space. I think you'll see a lot, but across the whole product, what's coming in the roadmap, where MYOB Acumatica is going, and it's also very educational as well. We'll be having our own AI for ERP webinar. We haven't landed on a date just yet, but Momentum has certainly been investing heavily in our own capability to not only use AI within our own business, but develop AI agents that can work with your ERP. A good recent example is for in the case where customers send you a purchase order via email, and that purchase order really is then manually entered into your system by a salesperson or a customer service person as a sales order. That process can be completely automated using an AI agent to monitor an inbox, ingest the purchase order, make sure all the items on the purchase order exist in your ERP as items, alert you to any errors, to the point where there's a sales order in your system ready for somebody to review and then release for picking. So that's one example, and there are many more. So we're looking forward to talking to you about those in more detail down the track and actually showing you some demos with a partner of ours as well. That's it, I think. So any questions, please fire away. We have answered a few during the session. Really hope you found the information presented to you today is something that you can use in your business right now. And please feel free to reach out to us about those services we described earlier in terms of health checks, QBRs, post-upgrade reviews.
There's just one last question from Miguel, and I think it's for Carrie. Can we generate the POs directly from Netstock based on the suggestions?
Yes, I think if Carrie's on the call, I'm sure she can answer, but I'm 99.9% sure that that's a yes. And it uses the API to push the purchase order into MYOB Acumatica, nothing more to do. If you've got a approval workflow pre-configured in MYOB Acumatica, then it will still go through that workflow.
100%, Al. So it's literally click of a button and you've got a beautiful order to supplier or transfer order, or we can actually redistribute excess if you've got multiple locations. So instead of ordering from supplier, you can actually redistribute the excess amongst your warehouses.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. If you do have time, grab your phone and scan the QR code. We do really love to get feedback on these sessions. It's most important to us that they're adding value to you. That's the only reason we do them. And so if you do get a chance, yeah, just please do scan that QR code and give us your feedback.
The survey will also go out shortly along with the recording for the webinar for whoever could attend it. And it'll be good if you can share it with the rest of your team as well. There's a lot of great stuff in this webinar.
Right. Lastly, thank you to Carrie from Netstock. Thanks, Pankaj, for presenting, and Jo Marie and Mitch for all the logistics in making this event happen. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.